This lesson is about eating, and you will learn the Dutch words for the meals that we have and also a bit about Dutch eating culture. Hallo lieve vrienden. So first of all, the word meal in Dutch is maaltijd. So in the Netherlands, these are the only three meals that we know, which is breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We don't have anything like supper or things that we have in some other cultures that have a name. It's only these three. So breakfast is ontbijt. The breakfast is het ontbijt. The breakfast is at the table at 9. Het ontbijt staat om 9 uur op tafel. So that's the noun. But breakfast in Dutch is also a verb. So I'm going to have breakfast is ik ga ontbijten. At what time will we have breakfast? Hoe laat gaan we ontbijten? Lunch in Dutch is also the same word, but pronounced in the Dutch way, which is lunch. And we have also made it into a verb. So lunchen, that's the verb. So at what time are you going to have lunch? Hoe laat ga je lunchen? Or shall we have lunch together? Zullen we samen gaan lunchen? And dinner in Dutch is either diner, that's a bit of a formal word, and also avondeten, so that is evening meal basically. So if you're asking at what time will we have dinner, you will ask hoe laat gaan wij avondeten? And there is something very peculiar about eating warm meals. So some of you may know I grew up in the Dutch culture, but my cultural background is Surinamese Indian. So from our home, observing the homes of my friends, we saw a lot of differences, right? So we were always wondering about how they ate and saw the differences between them and our families. So that's why I noticed all these things. So there is a term in Dutch that is called warm eten. So that's a warm meal. And that is a specific thing in the Netherlands because the Dutch usually will only have one warm meal a day, which is in the evening. So what do people have usually at breakfast? It can be either a sandwich or porridge or yogurt. So a sandwich is een boterham, and that is one of the weirdest words in the Dutch language because boterham is contained of two words, boter, which is butter, and ham, which is ham. But it's not either of those. It is the slice of bread with nothing on it. That is boterham. So I can have a sandwich with butter and ham. In Dutch that is een boterham met boter en ham. So what do people like on their sandwich, usually in the Netherlands? First of all, peanut butter is a very popular spread on your slice of bread. The Dutch word for peanut butter is also one of the weirdest words, pindakaas. So the first part of the word is pinda, that is peanut, and the second word is kaas, which is cheese. And you will find nothing like cheese in a pot of peanut butter, but still it's called this way. So a slice of bread with peanut butter is een boterham met pindakaas. Also cheese is very popular on bread, and what I would recommend for you to taste is also something very, very common to eat. That is a bun with raisins in it, and that is what we call krentenbol. And if you slice it open, put butter on it, and then a slice of cheese, it's yummy. And also, instead of the cheese, peanut butter. You might think it's gross, but it's actually very good. So that is a really common spread on your sandwich. and also, of course, ham, that is ham, jam or jelly, that is jam, so we use the French pronunciation. And if you have like 2 slices of bread and you put on it cheese and ham, you can make grilled cheese sandwich, right? That has a name in Dutch, that is tosti. So the full name would be, if those are the 2 ingredients, een tosti met ham en kaas. I don't eat meat, so I will usually only eat the cheese on it and sometimes a slice of tomato, which is delicious. So that is a tosti met kaas en tomaat. And also a very popular spread on your sandwich is hagelslag, which is chocolate sprinkles, right? So hagel is actually the word hail that's falling from the sky. And you throw it on your sandwich, so that's why it's called hagelslag. It falls down or it slams down on your sandwich. And don't forget to put in the butter as well, because otherwise the hagelslag will fall out of your sandwich as soon as you want to take a bite. And also, not to forget, that is like a thick cracker that we call beschuit. So that's round. And about 30 years ago, one very clever inventor, he invented like a little piece out of the circle in the cracker, so you could easily take it out from the can or from the package. Otherwise, it was always a struggle and you had to unpack the entire thing before you could take one out. All right, so that is breakfast, right? And for breakfast, people also often have yogurt with granola or dried fruit in it, and also fresh fruit that you can put in that as well. So I hear a lot of people use that as their breakfast. For lunch, same thing. People like to eat bread, right? So a sandwich, boterham. But also, if you look around in the cafeteria, in offices, then you will usually also find a big pot of soup. So people like that as well. It's also a very small cup of soup that you will take as a first course, basically, of your lunch. And then after that, go straight back to the sandwiches. And fruit, of course. Many people also add fruit, like an apple, one of the most popular ones, to eat it from the hand, or an orange or a banana. Those are the most common ones that you will find in cafeterias and at lunch tables. Then dinner. So originally the Dutch are really simple cooks, simple chefs, because it was a society where there was a really hard work in the land, right? There wasn't much time to prepare meals. So the meals were always very simple and they were cooked in maybe 15 minutes or half an hour max. That is what I noticed at the homes of my friends, right? They when their mother started cooking the meal, they were at the table like 20 minutes later. And in my home, my mother was maybe in the kitchen half a day to prepare our dinner, or at least 1 or 2 hours. So what is the content of the dish? That is, there's even an acronym for that, which is VGA. So that is meat, vegetables, and potatoes. So meat is vlees, that's the V. Then vegetables, that is groente. And potatoes, which is aardappelen. And what is also added is gravy, made out of nothing but melted butter. And no more than that. I think it's disgusting, but this was very common in the Dutch culture until about 50 years ago, I think, and was still the case when I was young, and I saw that all the time in my friends' homes. And how these elements of this dish are prepared is also so extremely simple. There wasn't any spice or anything added. If you had a piece of meat like a steak, it would be just thrown in the pan of butter with a little bit of butter and then a pinch of salt, and you're done. And also for the vegetables, just cook it in a pot of water, pinch of salt, and you're done. And the potatoes were just boiled in a pan until they're done, right? So this is originally years ago, before all the other cultures arrived in the Netherlands with their delicious meals and restaurants. Then one other very popular dish in the Netherlands is fries, right? That is patat or friet. And also what people like to eat with that is mayonnaise. So if you order fries with mayonnaise, you will say, mag ik een patat met mayonaise? And because people so often order this, you can even leave out the mayonnaise and just say, mag ik een patat met? That is translated to English, it is, can I have fries with? And then you don't have to say anything anymore because they know you mean the mayonnaise, right? So if you want to have another condiment, then you will say, mag ik een patat met ketchup? Or another one. And other types of food that you will find in the snack bar, right? So that is the store where you can buy the fries and all the other types of snacks. That is one very popular one is croquette, and another one is frikadel. Sometimes it's also called frikandel, but the original word is frikadel. And if you haven't tried that ever, please do if you are a meat eater. And also nowadays you also have versions with surrogate meat, right? And those I have and I like them a lot. Then finally, I think the most popular dish in the Netherlands, which is basically a signature Dutch dish, that is stampot. So stamp means to stamp or to mash, and pot is like the pot, the pan, right? So you boil potatoes, and then when it's cooked, you throw in the vegetables. Well, it depends. The timing of when you throw in the vegetables depends on which type of stampot you're making. And then you mash it all together. You take a big sausage with that and also gravy, and then you have the dish. So stampot can be made with kale, that is boerenkool. So then the dish is called boerenkool met worst. Also very popular is endive, that is andijvie. So that is usually called andijvie stampot. And the endive is used raw. So first you boil the potatoes, and when it's boiled, then you strain out the water, and then you throw in the raw endives, and then you mash it. So it will stay a little bit crunchy. It's very good. So that is andijvie stampot, or it's also sometimes called stampot rauwe andijvie, because the endive is still raw. Then zuurkool, which is sauerkraut. Zuurkool stampot is the full name. You have to cook that one, the sauerkraut, in a different pan first, and then put it all together when both are cooked. And then one of the most famous ones is hutspot. So that is onion and carrots. Those are cooked with the potatoes until it's all soft and done. Then the water is strained out, and then you mash it all together, and then you have stampot called hutspot. All right, so these are some of the essential things that you need to know. If this is valuable content for you, please like and subscribe. And if you have something to add, do you know more dishes in the Netherlands, maybe something you think is very odd in the Dutch eating culture, please leave a comment below, and I'll see you in the next lesson.